It's free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
Rutledge Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Rutledge Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Rutledge Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Rutledge Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Rutledge Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Rutledge inside Gateway Mall.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is Adam Carricker on the ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carricker.
Hey, what's up, Big Ten friends? Welcome once again to Believe in Big Ten. I am Rhett Lewis, former Indiana wide receiver. Excited to be back here with you. Adam's going to be back here with us a bit later on, but we got a great episode coming up here for you today as we welcome our friends from Bally's back to the program here. Excited to bring Believe in Big Ten back to Bally's for the fall. Of course, you can always catch us on Sirius XM Big Ten Radio, channel 372 as well. And of course, wherever you get your podcasts, on the Believe Network YouTube page, where we can interact with you, where we can comment with you, where we can kind of get into some dialogue about the Big Ten, about your favorite teams. If you ping us there, ask us some questions, we'll get into the comments and chat with you guys about that as well. So just a reminder that you have a lot of ways that you can consume us depending on where you're at today. But excited to kick off this episode today as we continue our summer series. We're going to talk Oregon in this episode. Obviously, a lot of expectations up there in Eugene. We also have the great pleasure a bit later in the show to welcome from ESPN and SEC Network, the great Laura Rutledge will be with us, host of NFL Live and SEC Nation when we get into the fall football schedule. So a lot to chat with her. Perhaps we'll get her take on the Big Ten versus the SEC. She is a Florida Gator, has a lot of SEC ties there, so we'll see if she breaks away from the SEC allegiance to join our side here by talking about the Big Ten as the best conference in football. So we'll get into all that, but let's begin with our summer series in Oregon. Same kind of way that we've gone through all the teams that we've previewed thus far. We're going to identify some star players, going to identify some breakout players. We're going to talk about the high-low schedule and success floor for Oregon, right? And then we'll get into our most intriguing matchup on the schedule. And then, of course, just identify where we think they will end up this year. So I'm going to start right now with identifying star players, and we'll go offense, defense. Starting with offense, this team is loaded, right? Yes, they lost Bo Nix. Yes, they lost Bucky Irving, Troy Franklin. They were the number 2 scoring offense in college football last year, but they are reloaded in a big way. And so the star power here for the Oregon Ducks on the offensive side of the ball starts with Dillon Gabriel, who could leave this season of college football by surpassing Bo Nix as the most experienced quarterback in college football history and perhaps the most productive as well. This guy understands offense. He understands defenses, which is maybe even more important. I think his superpower, as he was kind of telling me about it, is understanding where to go with the football, what the defense is trying to do to him, and then still executing at a very high level. Really excited to see how that takes shape within this Oregon offense this year with Dillon Gabriel at the helm. Tremendous arm. Watched him play in a spring game with him where it's actually a flea flicker, right? So he gets the ball a little bit left of center, right? Closer to the left hash, and kind of off his back foot makes this throw all the way out to the right sideline on an absolute frozen rope. Just dimes all over the place with Dillon Gabriel. And man, does he have some star power at the skill positions to accentuate his talents. That starts with Tez Johnson, who was absolutely prolific a year ago in the slot. Back in the slot this year for the Oregon Ducks, could be the most productive wide receiver in all of college football. He's a little bit smaller, a little bit slighter of frame. Depending on where you go for your official measurements, you're going to be talking between 5'9" and 5'10", between 160 and 170 pounds. I might have added a little bit of weight through this fall and off season, but he is not the biggest dude, but he plays bigger than his frame. He has got strong hands. He has an ability to make contested catches, but I'm telling you, when he gets the ball in space, watch out because he is gone in the blink of an eye. So Tez Johnson, for sure, one of the offensive stars. And then as you kind of identify, auxiliary pieces of the star power for the Oregon offense, Terrence Ferguson. Ferg is a man, okay? We're talking about an absolute beast at tight end. Now, this guy had a successful season last year, right? He was a big piece of the Oregon offense a year ago. I think he takes 10 steps forward this year for Oregon and is arguably the best tight end in college football. Will be in the running for the Mackey Award given annually to the college football's top tight end in the country. So I think Terrence Ferguson, Tez Johnson, Dillon Gabriel, kind of where the star power, the bona fide star power really lies with this team. I could go on and on about guys with star potential. And that's where we get into breakout players, but we'll do that after we get to the star power and the defensive side of the ball. And that begins with the man in the middle, Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker. He is the CPU of that defense. He is the DNA of that defense. He is the heartbeat. He makes the tackles. He makes the plays. He makes the calls. He is everything you want in an off-the-ball linebacker. And this Oregon coaching staff loves his mentality, his demeanor, and his production. It's obvious. I think he's the best linebacker that the Ducks have seen since Troy Dye led them in tackles 4 straight years back before we got into, 2016 to 2019. So Bassa, is 100% up there with the top linebackers in the Big Ten Conference. Another guy who kind of just speaks to me in that vein on defense for Oregon in terms of best at his position in the conference, Jabbar Muhammad, transfer in from Washington, best corner on this team, arguably the best corner in this conference, and probably one of the top 5 corners in the entire country. Jabbar Muhammad is as sticky as it comes. He's got a good physical frame for a corner. I love the way that he is fluid, the way that his hips move. He is truly a blanket in coverage. Saw that a little bit in the spring game. I know the coaches have seen that this fall. Jabbar Muhammad, one to watch, major star power there. And then I'll kind of give you a hybrid star power, star potential, breakout player. But Jordan Birch has been around the program now for a little bit. I think that Jordan Birch has had all of the star power potential, but I think we see it this year. He is listed among 16 other of his teammates in the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list, which was released this week. So Birch, Muhammad, Bassa, Ferguson, Johnson, Gabriel, all the guys I already mentioned, they're up there. 17 Oregon Ducks on the Senior Bowl watch list. That is second only to Ohio State in the conference. And then Ole Miss leads the way amongst all teams on the Senior Bowl watch list with 21 players. So Oregon, very well represented, and is an indicator of just how highly regarded this roster is, even in NFL circles. So not just for this upcoming collegiate season, but for a lot of these guys as they make the transition next year to the NFL. So there's a look at star power. We will then get into breakout players. I'm going to go quickly here because I do want to get to some of our other aspects of this Oregon preview. On offense, Josh Connerly, left tackle, again, star potential type of player. I think he breaks out in a big way, becomes a household name. Gary Bryant, I think, has been a contributor for Oregon. I think he's going to step up. He's made plays, according to the coaches, at all three of their positions. So inside, outside, he's all over the place. He's got big play potential, breakout season. And then at the running back spot, with the absence of Bucky Irving, Jordan James and Noah Whittington, I think combined to have a real breakout season in the backfield for the Oregon Ducks. On defense, Justin Jacobs, right up there next to Jeffrey Bassa. Big Ten folks know who he is from his time at Iowa. He was banged up first half of the season last year in his first year with the Oregon Ducks. I think he really stepped up in the second half, was a big-time player. He stays healthy. He's got absolute breakout ability. And then Jamari Caldwell, an interior penetrator, transfer in from Houston along the defensive front. I think this dude could really be a force to be reckoned with and a guy that could wreak some serious havoc on the defensive side of the ball. All right, let's get into the high-low kind of schedule projections for this Oregon team. It's pretty simple. At the high end, they go undefeated. They win the Big Ten. They get into the college football playoff with a bye, and they are there at the very end, whether that's semifinals or into the final. The Oregon Ducks, in their ceiling, is absolutely all the way at the top. Floor, I think it's 10. I think they win 10 games. I think they are as talented as any team in this conference, and so 10 games is not a stretch for me on the low end. So between 10 and 12, and I think most of the folks who make a living making those predictions have their win totals at about 10.5. So I do think they end up going into the 11 range. I almost want to say 11 is the floor and 12 is the ceiling in terms of the regular season. But I'll give it a little bit more of a gap there. 10 to 12 wins is kind of how I see this Oregon Ducks team. I think the most intriguing matchup, look, it's October 12th. It's at home against Ohio State. That's all there is to it. That will ultimately, I think, decide who is in pole position when the regular season ends here in the Big Ten. So that's a quick look there at the Oregon Ducks Summer Series. We're going to have Washington for you on the SiriusXM version of this show and on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. Washington Huskies Summer Series preview is on the way. We're going to step aside here briefly, though, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Laura Rutledge. Get her thoughts on the upcoming college football season and the Big Ten versus SEC debate.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Truck Month is back. We have absolutely gigantic savings right now at Koppel. They are offering $12,500 off on select new pickups. That is not a mistake. You heard right. $12,500 off list price right now on select new pickups. Those discounted units, though, will not last long. These are all manager specials. You have to come in now, so hurry in down 144th Street or shop online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G35609. 93 must trade.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com. Serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today.
I'm ready.
Burgers?
Check.
Chips?
Check.
Icy cold beer?
Check. Except this one.
I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread?
I can't stop eating it.
Rico!
Relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Over 75% of the patients that come to Limitless Mail have been told over and over again by their primary care providers that their testosterone level is fine. Guess what? If you have all the symptoms of low testosterone, you're not fine. Come get a second opinion at Limitless Mail. We have helped tens of thousands of men feel optimal again, and we can help you. Stop waiting. Come see the men's health experts. Book your free consult online at limitlessmail.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. This Saturday, Fulham takes on Leicester City at 9 a.m., followed by Aston Villa taking on Arsenal at 11:30. On Sunday, Chelsea takes on Wolves at 8 a.m., followed by Liverpool and Brentford taking the field at 10:30 a.m. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Are you tired of the same old entertainment options? How about something that's truly fun for both kids and adults? Nebraska Knockerball, the new place to go for your private and corporate parties. Step inside one of their inflatable spears and let out stress in a healthy form of exercise. Or try the human foosball, foot darts, yard pong, giant beer pong, basketball Connect 4, and much more. Nebraska Knockerball, specializing in physical, engaging fun. Call Nebraska Knockerball today at 402-460-8724 to learn more or book a reservation now.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
You're listening to Adam Carricker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to Believe in Big Ten. Rhett Lewis back here with you. Excited again to be back with our friends here on Bally's and, of course, on SiriusXM as well. Our great pleasure today to get to welcome one of the most talented hosts and hardest working hosts in the television business. The great Laura Rutledge is with us here from ESPN and SEC Nation. Appreciate all that you do, Laura, and certainly making some time for us here today. What's going on?
Thanks for having me. You're so kind. It's great to be with you.
Fun. Look, I appreciate it, and I do a lot of work on the NFL side as well, and I know trying to keep up with both the highest levels of this sport is definitely a difficult task, but you do it very well. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But look, we are on the verge of college football here, and that's what's exciting right now. Like, how would you describe your anxiety and your excitement as like the season really kind of gets close here?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best part of the year, right? Just thinking about what's coming our way. And I feel like I say this every year, like, oh, I'm so, I feel the excitement's different this time. This time it really feels different because the playoff has expanded, because of conference realignment. So many things look so different. So many teams have been basically made out of the transfer portal, and there's so much unknown. To me, like, it just feels like we're on the dawn of a new era and a new age. I know that sounds corny, but to know that we've all, as college football fans, and no matter how long you've really been following the sport, that we're going to be able to see this transition ushered in real time. I just think it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think that's, you nailed it, right? CFP expansion, conference expansion. And that's actually where I want to go right now with you, Laura. Okay. We know, we love your work on SEC Network. We know you're a Florida Gator. But the Big Ten does have 2 of the top 3 teams in the first AP college poll, Oregon and Ohio State, right up there, 2 of the top 3. We do have 18 teams to the SEC's 16. We do play 9 conference games to the SEC's 8. So do you want to come over on the right side of this thing and just talk about the Big Ten as the superior conference?
Let's go ahead and just do a handshake on this.
All
if
right,
I do that, then you have to come talk about the SEC being the superior conference. But listen, no, all jokes aside, the Big Ten is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. Yeah. And you mentioned those 2 teams. I mean, Ohio State, I realize preseason poll, Georgia's ahead of Ohio State, for some people. Ohio State should be right there. I would not be shocked at all if they end up winning the national championship. And it's such a crucial season for them, certainly. Even though I think all of that pressure on Ryan Day, and I realize it's just because of Michigan, but I think it's a little bit overblown. Like, I was listening to some stuff today where people were like, Ryan Day and his job security. I'm like, guys, he's one of the best coaches in college football. And I realize with this team that they have, like, they need to win. They probably need to win the Big Ten. They probably need to at least make some sort of significant run in the college football playoff. But it's going to be incredible to watch. And then Oregon, like, coming and joining the Big Ten, how cool is that? Knowing what they bring to the table, how good they were last season. I don't think that their offense takes much of a step back, even though you're going to have a different style of play. So, yeah. You got a great conference there. I wouldn't be shocked, Brett, if we're looking at people are going to get mad at us. The college football playoff, even with an expanded playoff where it's mostly Big Ten and SEC teams.
Yeah, I think we're gonna send this off and we're gonna play this in the open to your first SEC Nation broadcast this year. Does that sound good? I'm sure folks will love it. Folks will love it. Folks will love it.
Great for me.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's talk about it this way too, because SEC Big Ten aside, there was some coaching turnover this year as well. Obviously, there was a big one in the SEC at Alabama with Kalen DeBoer. Plenty all over the place, right? The place that he left now, Washington, with Jed Fish jumping in as the new head coach there. A lot on the line for that program, right? Just a couple of months removed from playing in a national title game, so much to rebuild there. Is there a head coaching hire that's new, a new coach in a new place that is maybe most intriguing to you right now?
The obvious one would be Kalen DeBoer, but I actually think Elko at Texas A&M, and especially knowing the way that they opened the season against Notre Dame and his familiarity with A&M, you think about the post-Jimbo Fisher era, and I think A&M made a really smart call here. They just said, look, we're not going to pay an exorbitant amount of money for a new head coach after all that we had paid to Jimbo Fisher, and then it didn't end up working out the way that they wanted it to. It's funny because had the playoff been expanded, they would have been just fine. But anyway, I digress. But I just think Elko's the right fit for that role. I think A&M could be better than some people are saying. I mean, do I think they're a playoff team? Not necessarily, but they could make more of a splash in the SEC than people are talking about. And Elko will be a real big reason why. He's worked on a lot of that development, and I know it all sounds good, but I actually buy into this. The development of toughness that maybe has been lacking there for some time, really seeing that, I think on the field in the fourth quarter for them could be the difference maker that they've been missing for these last few years.
Yeah, I think you're right on there. And as we get into, we're talking about intriguing coaches and then moving to intriguing matchups, there is some Big Ten SEC crossover this year, and we'll see it right out of the gate. USC LSU is one that definitely got circled here in Vegas. What's your early thought there on Brian Kelly's crew as they match up against Lincoln Riley and company this year?
I cannot wait for this game. We were actually just having a meeting yesterday about like our first Saturday show. And I was like, guys, I realize that game's on Sunday, but we need to talk about it a lot because it is fascinating. You're looking at LSU, in the post Jaden Daniels era, and Garrett Nussmeier, who's just like been on the team for forever and has a really strong arm, but we haven't really seen what he looks like, in a larger sample size, but he's waited his turn. And I think he's probably better than maybe some think. It feels like it's not pressure on Brian Kelly, but it's like they haven't won that opener in a while. I can't remember exactly how many years. It was in like 3 years or something. They haven't won the opener. They need to win the opener. And then if you're Lincoln Riley and USC, you're like, all right, we don't have Caleb Williams anymore. But as Lincoln has shown many times, his offensive mind, his scheme can sometimes disguise some things. Right. It's in Vegas. Like, I'd be curious your thoughts on this game too, but I cannot wait to see these two teams face off.
Well, I think it's actually kind of similar, Laura, when you talk about Ohio State and the pressure that Ryan Day's under. I think to a little bit lesser of a degree, that's kind of where we're at with USC and Lincoln Riley. The year two with Caleb Williams did not deliver on the high expectation. Obviously, there was a lot of struggle on the defensive side of the ball there. I think they've made some huge strides there. I think that Danton Lynn, the new defensive coordinator for USC, is going to be in the running at the very top for the Broyles Award as the best assistant coach in college football this year. I think he's going to make such a big difference for that defense, and already has. If you watch the spring game, they forced 5 turnovers against Lincoln Riley's offense in the spring game. So I have confidence that Lincoln's going to figure that part out on the offensive side with Miller Moss and company running that show. Yeah. But I'm really excited to see what that defense does there at USC. And then look, another one of those, Big Ten SEC crossover matchups, this year is Michigan, right? The defending national champions taking on Texas in week 2. Obviously a lot there that's being replaced in terms of talent and on the coaching staff, right? With Sharon Moore assuming the head coaching gig at Michigan. But man, Texas looks like so much fun this year with Sark and with Quinn Ewers back. Like, what's your early thought on that one there in week 2?
Well, it's interesting because Sark has kind of tried to push down some of the hype for them. Like he's totally doing the rat poison Saban thing. And he's like, can you guys stop talking about how great we are? Yeah. Which I get, although I think that this Texas team is loaded and they're so physical. They have a ton of talent. I mean, they have the deepest quarterback room in the country because you've got Arch Manning, who we may never see this year, who might be, and I'm not taking anything away from Quinn Ewers, who I think is a potential Heisman candidate, but it's unbelievable the talent that they've amassed there. But they have to go on the road to Michigan, which we all know is an incredibly tough place to play. And I think Michigan, I mean, look, are they going to be what they were last year? No. But they're still a really talented, deep team. I love the fact that Colston Loveland is back at tight end. He's one of my favorite players. Last season, I thought, he was undeniable in so many ways. I think he's going to have an even better year. It's just a matter of can they efficiently get him the football, which to me, he should be, just target him as much as you can and
right.
good luck trying to cover him. But no, I think this is, and by the way, like you talk about just a gift as a college football fan, this game is a gift. So are all these other games we're talking about. Like imagine turning your TV on and you get to watch Michigan and Texas week 2. It is going to be interesting too. I mean, Rhett, I would say like with the expanded playoff, this game is really important for Texas, and it's huge in strength of schedule and all that. It's important for Michigan too. But if you talk about like a team in Texas that we think is potentially at the top of the top when it comes to the college football playoff, this one really matters, but also there's some grace because you don't have to win every game. Maybe
that's a great
model. So like, what is how much of a pressure cooker is it? I think that's going to be kind of fascinating to see how people respond, whatever happens in the game.
Well, and I hope that the expanded playoff gives us more of these matchups, right? Gives us more of these marquee matchups in non-conference play, because one loss does not ruin your season. I mean, like we look at that in the Big Ten now. I mean, Penn State would have made the playoffs each of the last 3 years if it was expanded to 12. And folks in Happy Valley have looked at those seasons as disappointments each of the last 3 years.
I know.
So 10-2 is not the worst thing in the world this year. 11-1, like you're going to be playing in December with those records this year in major conferences. So I think that's a great point that you make there. And that's going to be a lot of fun as we get into the meat of this season. All right, let's talk venues. Outside of the swamp, because I know you guys get around and you guys are a traveling show, you get to see a lot of places. What is your favorite venue to visit outside of Gainesville?
So this is like picking favorite children or something because I love all these places so much.
Yeah.
But I really do love Baton Rouge. To go to Baton Rouge is like a whole life experience. And you're just going to eat all this food that you don't really know exactly what it is. And that's okay because it tastes delicious.
That's right.
I'll never forget, like, starting some of these mornings, we're starting off and we've already had like griots and grits and like,
oh my
like,
God. Yeah. You've
like, and by the time the show starts, I'm like, all right, stomach, don't fail me now. Like we got to get through the show. But I mean, just so many great options at LSU. And then I know you only asked for one, but I would also throw Alabama in there. It's just Tuscaloosa has a different feel to it. It's so grand. There's just so much pageantry to it. Like even just riding around campus, you're seeing amazing things. The architecture is beautiful, but it also just has like a true, old SEC vibe to it. So
it does.
I love going there for sure.
Those are great ones for sure. When Dixieland Delight starts rolling, I mean, it's a beautiful there. It's a beautiful thing for sure there. And then I'm from New Orleans. My sister went to LSU, so like you're speaking my language.
Yeah, you know griots and grits. I said that.
Come on. We get a little fried gator going on. We'll get some things. We'll get some things going down in Baton Rouge. It is a beautiful thing. So I mentioned it at the top, Laura. I mean, you are all over the place in the fall, and whether it comes to hosting NFL Live or on the road with your SEC fam and dealing with Jordan Rodgers, which is obviously a task in and all of itself. Yes, prayers up for you. But you're also you're a committed working mom, and there's a lot of respect to be had for the way that you handle those roles. So what's your prep schedule like? How do you kind of keep it all together throughout this season?
Oh, the truth is I don't. I mean, I'm just, kind of like a mess at all times. But no, I mean, I've had to sort of accept that in this phase of life, I'm not able to do the prep that I would like to do, which is like maniacal prep for every single thing that I'm doing. And I have to kind of like trust in myself a little bit to get through some things. But really, the cool thing about NFL Live is hosting a daily show. You're in it every single day. So I'm prepping for the show, from the morning all the way through when we finish at 5, and then we kind of like turn our attention to the next day. But it's prep where I can look at something and then like go fix somebody breakfast and then go play with somebody, put somebody down for a nap. And then during that time, read a little bit more. Like it's just, like whenever I can get a moment, I try to do some prep and focus on some things. And then when I'm prepping for games, as that's kind of a totally different part of your brain. And that's where it's a little bit more specific to those two teams. And just really, I love doing games. I love doing live events. So I feel real fortunate that even though it does take a ton of work and balance and like time management management, and I really don't get anything done until like everybody goes to bed.
That's right.
So like 10 p.m.
I feel you.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, I'm nodding off, but doing the game prep a lot of times takes a little bit extra effort. So I'll do that a lot of times when I get to work, even for NFL Live, because that's the only time that I'm really going to have, actual focused,
That's right.
sitting down and working on stuff. But it's a gift, like to be in this season of life and to have this job and to be able to say that I'm also a mom at the same time. I could have never imagined being able to do all of this.
Well, you wear all the hats remarkably well, and it's certainly no easy task. But all right, with football also comes food here, Laura. And look, I love a good honey baked ham. Who doesn't? So, tell us what kind of role we're talking about with honey baked hams, and as we get into football season here.
Yeah, it's been really cool to be able to partner with Honey Baked Ham for the second year in a row and just sharing great ways to have an incredible game day spread, which we all know, like people come, we want to watch the games, right? We're all football fans, but you want to have some good food while you're there too. And I found that this variety that they offer and the convenience, you can just go to your local Honey Baked store, pick everything up there, or you can order online. It's honeybaked.com/game day, but you can get everything. You got the sliders. They got a new pulled pork Cuban slider, which is unbelievably good, but they got the ham and Swiss, the turkey and cheddar. You can get a sandwich platter that's got all the sandwiches. You can also just get the gorgeous bone-in half ham, which everybody associates with Honey Baked ham, and it's got that incredible glaze on it. And then you show up with that at your home gate or your tailgate, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're the hero of the day. So it's all delicious. And I just think anything that, promotes gathering together and spending time watching football is worth celebrating. And that's exactly what Honey Baked does.
No doubt. Or, if it's 10 o'clock and the kids are asleep and we're prepping for games, we'll just pull that ham out of the fridge and just take a couple of slices.
You would not believe the amount of times that my husband will be like, I hear you in there. What are you doing? And he'll like come around the corner and I've got, the
Don't
ham.
you worry about
I'm just pulling it off, eating it, putting mustard on it. And it's so good.
That's right. It's the best. And so are you. Thank you so much, Laura, for giving us some time here today on the Big Ten Show. We sure do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Over 75% of the patients that come to Limitless Male have been told over and over again by their primary care providers that their testosterone level is fine. Guess what? If you have all the symptoms of low testosterone, you're not fine. Come get a second opinion at Limitless Male. We have helped tens of thousands of men feel optimal again, and we can help you. Stop waiting. Come see the men's health experts. Book your free consult online at limitlessmale.com.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big.
To learn more, volunteer, or donate, Go to bbbslincoln.org.
Are you a healthy non-smoker? Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, is seeking people like you, 19 to 64 years old with excess weight, to take part in a research study. You could earn up to $22,500 for participation. This study includes 1 10-night stay, 5 2-night stays, 1 1-night stay, and 17 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/dove or call 8662-13-2965.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Rutledge Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Rutledge Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Rutledge Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Rutledge Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Rutledge Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Rutledge inside Gateway Mall.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $25.60 per hour, which grows to $30.12 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $34.51 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacations for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
You're listening to Adam Carricker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, back here now as we get a chance to welcome another guest to the program here today. And it is one of my favorite conversations that I get to have, talking ball, talking college football, and then the transition that some of the very best in the college game will make to the NFL. and I get to do it with Executive Director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy. Jim, we get together and talk all the time, and I know that this it's great to get to do it and let everyone hear some of these conversations, because it really just is so insightful to get your thoughts and on all these college players that could be embarking on their final season, and especially poignant this week as you guys have released the watch list, right, which has grown in popularity every year, just about like everything else that you guys do at the Senior Bowl. So give us a sense of the work that goes into it, and the kind of sense of relief and pride that you have in putting the thing out there.
Yeah, good to be on, Rhett. Yeah, a ton of work, man, ton of work. The staff's been watching tape on these guys since last January, because once we get really the roster set for the 2024 game and things are ready, like, why keep spinning our wheels watching those guys? So once we get that roster set, we move on into the next year. So we've really been watching these players for about 8 full months now. Yeah. So thousands of hours of tape watching. We do not put anyone on this list we don't put our eyeballs on. We don't just
love that.
Throw this together. Do we talk to coaches? And, absolutely. Do agents call us about players? Absolutely. But we are ultimately putting, sometimes multiple sets of eyes, usually multiple sets of eyes on these players before they get put on the watch list. And that includes, hundreds of other players that don't belong on the,
Sure.
don't end up on the watch list. So I'll say this about this year's list. There's 859 players, probably a little bigger than we would like, honestly. Since we started doing this, 7 years ago, what I don't love is I don't want to put any false hope in players' minds. I think there's a lot of that out there these days. Like, making the NFL is a really hard thing. When I was in the NFL, I was on the other end of the phone from some pretty difficult conversations with players who were ultimately really let down by the fact they didn't get drafted. And here I am working for a team trying to sign them as a free agent, and that, that should be a big moment for them, right? Like, you're getting a chance to play in the National Football League. But I've had too many of those phone calls where guys were just really disappointed they didn't get picked. So that's why we've tried to keep this list smaller. But I would say that 859 is reflective of this being the last year of the COVID year, extra COVID year, right? Like, all these guys get an extra year. So there's a lot of 5th and 6th year seniors on this list. And then last November, the NFL allowed juniors to play in all-star games. So that was not reflected in last year's watch list or any previous watch list. So there's 81 juniors on this list. And then we've never included specialists on the list either. So that beefed up the number. So hopefully in years to come that this number will come down a little bit. But this is just a starting point. I tried to put something out on social media earlier today. There were 7 position players in last year's Senior Bowl, all of which got drafted, that were not on the watch list. So any players that might be discouraged, and I've already been hit up by a lot of coaches today, like, hey man, you missed on this guy, we didn't get this guy, this player's bummed out, and I just, I kind of sent him that tweet, like, with this is just the start, guys. Like, we will watch your guys, I promise. Like, we got 11 scouts all over the country. We will be at your games. We've got every FBS school on the calendar this fall to go see play live. So the work will get done, we promise you. And are we going to make mistakes? Yes, we will. I mean, there's going to be guys we miss on next February. It happens. But I believe in our process, and our scouts work really hard. So, again, just kudos to our staff. There's a lot of people from the digital side, and the graphics and everything that goes into this big day for us. A lot of people put in a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it is. I think the way that you put it is great. It's the starting line, right? It's not the finish line. And the ultimate goal should not be just to make it to the watch list. It should be to make it to the game in Mobile, right? And that'll happen on the field. Like, for instance, you got 6 Indiana Hoosiers on the watch list, but when there's 16 of them down in Mobile at the end of the year, then you'll understand what all this is about. No big deal there. Hey, so look, let's dig into a couple of these teams on this list here from the Big Ten that are way up there in terms of volume on the list. I think Ohio State leads the way with 18. Oregon was close behind with 17. All kind of right up there neck and neck with some of those top teams in the SEC. Georgia, Alabama, and Ole Miss, I think, led the way, right, with 21 players in total. So Big Ten well represented. let's start there with Ohio State. When we get to Oregon, because we went through our Oregon preview earlier in the show, so we'll do that here in a second. But with Ohio State, the fact that so many of those guys came back, like I imagine you'd have had some Senior Bowlers that are on this watch list that would have played in the game last year if they'd have come out. Like guys like Denzel Burke, guys like Emeka Buka that are all back now. How does that kind of factor in to the calculus here?
Yeah, Lathan Ransom was the guy that
Sure.
we sent an invite to Lathan Ransom. So yeah, they are loaded. They are loaded, man. They've done a really good job in the portal. Like they didn't go out and get a ton of players in the portal, but the ones they got impact players. Like Caleb Downs isn't a guy for us this year.
Right.
The safety from Alabama,
Will
but
be soon.
he's a big time player. Quinshot Judkins, the running back, you're pairing him with Travion Henderson now. That's a big time backfield. Probably as good a 1-2 punch as there is in college football now. And then Will Howard at quarterback. Will's a guy. This is a kind of an inside story, but Will was in a situation last year where he wanted to come out. He wanted to come out in the draft, but he wanted to play in the Senior Bowl. And I was honest and open with Will the whole way. I like Will a lot as a player, but we were kind of waiting on Jaden Daniels, who didn't end up playing. We were waiting on Michael Penix, who did end up playing. And when it looked like we got to the point, really when it came to the point where we knew Jaden Daniels wasn't going to play and we'd have a spot for Will Howard, I called him and I said, Will, you ready to do this, man? We're ready to do it. And he's like, Jim, I'm getting ready to board a plane for Columbus, Ohio right now. So
I'm about to be a Buckeye.
I'm about to be a Buckeye. So the Senior Bowl's loss last year was Ohio State's gain. And we were just watching tape this afternoon or this morning in the office of a couple Oklahoma State linebackers. And I was going to post this. I might post it later tonight. Will Howard rips off like a 70-yard touchdown run. I want to get that Ohio State fan base fired up. I mean, they've got is he Jaden Daniels? No, but is he more athletic than you would think from a big 6'5", 240-pound quarterback? Yeah, I mean he scored from 70 yards out. Not many big guys can do that. So they do. They've done a nice job in the portal, and they've got a bunch of good guys coming back. I mean, when you get the Lathan Ransoms and like Denzel Burke was a guy that we did a lot of work on last year, and those guys up front. I mean, you got JT coming back and Tyleek Williams and the Hamilton. I mean, the list goes on. And Jack Sawyer. I mean, they've just got a bunch of Sunday players, and they're all coming back, and they're on a mission to kind of get over the hump this year. So that's a loaded squad.
Yeah, and just to double down on Howard, you and I were both spent some time together at the Manning camp this year. Got to talk to Will a little bit. Like the first thing that he said about Ohio State, wasn't like, oh my God, I've got this incredible, array of talented players around me, which he does. It was the coaching here is insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about Chip Kelly. He's talking about Ryan Day. He's talking about Hartline and Justin Fry. Like their offensive coaching staff, he feels like is going to be such like a game changer for him. Have you seen that along your journey with guys that, especially in the last 5 years, now that the portal has really, exploded? Not to say that they came from a place where they weren't coached very well, but when you step up to a program like Ohio State, where, you do have that terrific coaching, can you see players take that next step in their, ability to maximize their potential that way?
Home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Yeah, for sure. But more so probably from lower level guys going up to an Ohio State.
That's true.
I've got a ton of respect for Chris Kleiman.
Oh, of course.
The state. And I know you do too.
Yeah.
I know you didn't mean it that way, but I think the cool thing with Will in the kind of the benefit, if you will, of the portal over the years in the evaluation process has been you've seen Will playing an offense that Chris Kleiman had at North Dakota State with guys like Carson Wentz and Trey Lance. And so they're playing under center. They're running the play action game. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of NFL apples to apples stuff coming out of that offense. I mean, it's great. Like his predecessor there at K-State, Skylar Thompson, was a draft pick of the Miami. He's a Miami Dolphins backup player right now. So he's playing in the league. So that's good tape. That's really good tape for the NFL to evaluate. Now he's going to go play in Chip Kelly's offense and probably run more RPO stuff. And they're going to do some things differently where Will's going to be able to showcase some different things, which is great. Now you've opened up now NFL, look what I can do. Like, look at all these different things I can do, NFL. And again, you get coached by different people, you pick up different things. It's like, when you were at Indiana, I don't know how many receivers coaches you had, but I mean, every coach has little pointers, right? Like you're going to get better when you're coached by different people. So I think it's a good thing for Will Howard.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's probably the best way to put it is it's different. It's not necessarily better, but it's another way to kind of shape him as a quarterback. And I think that's a big deal for him for sure. Let's move to Oregon here, because I want to ask you about a couple of guys. You had Bo Nix in the game last year, obviously, and an Alabama kid, and goes to the Broncos. Actually, just named the Broncos starting quarterback, which is super cool.
Go Bo!
Yeah, let's go. And his adopted brother, Tez Johnson's going to be one of the most highly regarded receivers in college football this year. But there's a quarterback that's going to be thrown to Tez that has a chance to eclipse Bo's incredible mark of experience in college football this year, and that's Dylan Gabriel. But when it's all said and done, could get more than 61 starts under his belt this year, which is insane.
It's insane.
What's the thought process on Dylan right now? Because I know he's a smaller guy, but he's got some arm and he's got some ability and some football IQ up here. What's the NFL thought on Dylan?
Well, you hit the high points right there, right? This guy. And he's been in 3 offenses, right? I mean, UCF to Oklahoma. We've watched this guy play a lot. And he's fun to watch. So what I would say about Dylan, I mean, he's a little guy. There's nothing he can do. He's a smaller guy. He's an undersized guy. And there's nothing he can do about that. But you're seeing the NFL has really that bar has went way down from the time I started scouting in the late 90s, early 2000s. When I was with the Patriots, like we wouldn't look at a guy under 6'3", 6'4", right? But now the league has opened themselves up. We've seen, I think Drew Brees was probably the first guy, like right there at 6 foot. And then, it's slowly been coming down all the way to, Bryce Young a couple of years ago, Kyler Murray. So those guys have shown you can do it. What I like about Dylan Gabriel is he's a bouncy athlete. He's got some spring to him athletically. He can pump the ball out quick. And what we tried to do when I was with the Seattle Seahawks for a lot of years and really kind of unsuccessfully is we tried to find a backup that could mirror what Russell Wilson was. And again, Russell was kind of an outlier. How many Russell Wilsons are walking the planet? But and thank God he never got hurt. But if he got hurt, we felt like we really would have had to change, offensively quite a bit. And I said this last year when we were scouting Dylan at Oklahoma with a couple of posts that I put out about him. So it's for Oklahoma fans, they've heard this, but if I'm the Miami Dolphins, and again, it's crazy to say, he and Tua are both coming from Hawaii and they know each other, but man, it's a similar skill set. So to me, if you're the Miami Dolphins and you're looking, Tua is obviously your guy, you've paid him. Like you're not drafting anyone to challenge Tua Tagovailoa anymore. You're trying to find a guy that can, come in and hold the fort down if he gets hurt. And to me, this would be a really cool backup if I'm the Miami Dolphins. So he's going to have a ton of experience, which is going to be great because you don't get that at the NFL level anymore. They just throw you out there, there's no, outside of Pat Mahomes and Jordan Love, we've seen that these guys get thrown to the wolves. So he's going to be able to lean into 60 plus college starts. And that's awesome place to start, man. This guy's seen it all and done it all.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of some of the tweaks that Will Stein and company and Dan Lanning make in that offense to accommodate, what Dylan Gabriel does really well. I think he sees the field, really well, understands how defenses are attacking him, which is a pretty cool, and that comes with experience too, right? Size will, of course, be a question mark on Tez Johnson. And look, I know NFL scouts that went through Eugene this spring and this offseason, had him at shade over 5'9" and about 162 pounds. That's tiny, but this dude plays bigger to me. You turn on that spring game, he's making contested catches. He's making physical combat catches. He's got strong hands. And obviously you put the ball in his hands in space and forget about it. But how much is the size quotient going to be a part of the conversation when it comes to Tez this year?
Well, very much like the quarterback thing. I think the league it's become more of a spread out game. I think just a lot of the physical contact has been regulated out of defensive back play. Like there's no headhunters, looking for guys over the middle anymore. So
right.
You're seeing guys, and again, some of these guys I'm going to mention are elite players in my opinion, but Devontae Smith was a $168, 167 at Alabama. We had Tank Dell from Houston in the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago. Tank was like $165. Now, Devontae was an elite route runner. Tank is an elite route runner. But I think the common denominator between both those guys, and you see some of it in Tez, are what you hit on. They have more physical substance than what that 160 whatever number looks like.
Yeah.
You put on the tape, they're not getting bounced around, and in all three of these guys are super tough. So Tez was at Troy University before Oregon. We got to see him a little bit there. Remember seeing him play live there, and so yeah, he and Evan Stewart. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's going to have two really cool targets. Evan Stewart's tape. His numbers aren't reflective. His numbers from Texas A&M last year are not reflective of the kind of playmaker this guy can be. I think he's got early round talent as well. So you lose Bo Nix and you lose Troy Franklin and all these guys and
Bucky Irving. Yeah,
you
fine.
think there's going to be this massive drop off, and I don't think there's going to be.
No, I agree with you. And boy, when you mentioned Tank Dell, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Like that feels like a comp for Tez Johnson right now. Like that's the way that dude explodes with the football in his hand. Going to be a lot of fun to watch this year on both fronts, right? With the Texans and Tank, and with Oregon and Tez. One more duck, and then I want to shift gears here for a moment. But Terrence Ferguson. Ferg, was already productive last year as a tight end for them. It feels like they want to get him and feed him even more, but it's a crowded group looking for the ball there at Oregon, as we just kind of talked about. How have you seen the NFL and kind of evaluate the tight end position and the way maybe it's changed a little bit here over the course of the last few years? But what's your take on Ferg and how he fits into that tight end puzzle?
Yeah, I think the NFL, they're all looking for combo guys because trust me, I've tried to sell pass catching tight ends in draft rooms before. And if you can't block to a functional level, tight ends coaches, it's a hard sell with a tight ends coach and an offensive coordinator, because if you've got a guy that just likes to run routes and catch the ball, the defense knows what you're going to do if that guy's on the field. So they want guys that no matter what you line up in, it could, you're a run threat, you're a pass threat. So that's what they're looking for. And I think Ferguson can be that guy. We did a lot of work on him last year as a junior. Like there was some scuttlebutt, through the agent community that he might be coming out.
Right.
So we did a lot of homework on him then. I'd love to see this guy up the seam a little more because I think he can do that. And he's got really nice hands. I forget which game it was. Maybe it was one of the Washington games where he made a ridiculous one-handed catch where Bo found him in the corner of the end zone late. In a game. So he's got some cool catch skills to him. So again, when we did our homework last year, and vetting him out with NFL teams, we were kind of in the same range. Like he would have been like an early day 3 guy, like a fourth or fifth round player, which would put him, in line here. I will say this is a deeper tight end class than it was last year. Like, yes, there were some good ones last year, but there's probably more depth to this year's class. So, but he's going to be squarely in the mix. Like I'm trying to picture the board upstairs and where he's at, and it's a good group. It's a good group of players that he's up there with.
There you go. I want to hit briefly on Washington and mostly their quarterback, Will Rogers, because you and I both saw him this summer at the Manning camp. We've seen him a lot at Mississippi State, right? Throwing the ball around, for Mike Leach, in years past. And now goes up to Washington initially with Kalen DeBoer, but kind of yo-yos a little bit, ends up staying up there now that Jed Fish is the head coach. What's your take on Will Rogers at this point? I saw Bill Belichick down in Thibodaux at the Manning camp talking to him a little bit and kind of getting to know him. And I'm just kind of curious the fit there in your thought process with Jed Fish and the way that Will Rogers plays the quarterback spot.
Yeah, Bill's been spending a lot of time in Seattle, Washington too. With,
that's right.
His son is the defensive coordinator up there now. So I'm sure he and Will have a little bit of a rapport. But
that's right.
I'll say this for Jed. I've known Jed a long time, going way back. I want to say we first crossed paths when he was the wideouts coach for Eric Decker at Minnesota, maybe.
Wow.
But it's been Jed's been at a few stops, and the one thing he's done really well since he's become a head coach and a coordinator is really tailor the offense to the strengths of his quarterback. Now, Will's very different than what he played with down at Arizona the last couple of years. He's not going to move around like those guys. He's not going to bring you that run element. But what he can do, and what he, again, similar to Dylan Gabriel, this guy's played a ton of football. He knows how to play the quarterback position. He can go through his progressions. He can get the ball out fast when he needs to get the ball out fast. And he's a great leader. Like, I've enjoyed my time with Will Rogers at the Manning camp the last couple of years. He's a cool kid, man. Like, he really is. Like, he is. I wouldn't doubt that he has that team right now. Yeah. Like, to me, he's the kind of guy that other guys gravitate to. So it'll be interesting. I don't know, Rhett, what it's going to look like, but I think, for Washington fans that think their offense is going to look like what it's looked like at Arizona the last couple of years, I wouldn't think that. I think it's going to look a little different, just like I've been warning people. Yeah. Just like I've been warning people in the state of Alabama, just because, Washington's offense looked the way it looked last year with Michael Penix in those three, NFL starting level wide receivers. Like, it might not look like that in Tuscaloosa. Like, Kalen was playing to his strengths. I think that this thing down here in the state of Alabama could look different. I think what they're going to have up in Seattle might look a little different than what people are used to Jed's offense looking like.
Yeah, I think you might see some two backs, some 21 personnel up there a little bit. Maybe just kind of, again, maximizing what they have and the way that they want to run things. So it might be a little bit of a culture shock right to the eyes at times, but look, they're going to do what they think is best to put that team in the best possible position to succeed. And that's what you've done here with the Senior Bowl, Jim. And we sure do appreciate your time, man. Again, get out there, check out the watch list, check out your favorite teams. And that's, by the way, real quick, that's the other cool thing. Like, my timelines have been flooded on Instagram and on X with the schools coming up with these super creative graphics, about all the guys that have ended up on the list that you put out there. And that's also got to be pretty gratifying to you to see the way that has kind of taken hold from the school side of things as well.
That is when we knew we were making some traction. It really was. Like, whatever it was 5 years ago, our creative team, Dave Rogers, Johnny Williams, those guys, they do an awesome job. But when you've got, Alabama football and Ohio State and USC and Michigan and Texas and Clemson and all those schools with millions of followers, and they're cranking out graphics with flying Reese's Pieces and flying Reese's Cups. It's a big day for our title sponsor. I mean, trust me, Reese's loves today. Sorry about the timeline.
It's okay.
It is a really fun day here at Senior Bowl headquarters. We love it. I know we're eating up people's timelines, but the cool thing was, like Dave grabbed me earlier today, we were trending. We were like the 13th trending thing nationwide on Twitter this morning. So it's
in the middle of the Democratic convention, and we got the Senior Bowl in Mobile, absolutely lighting it up. That's a testament to you, man, and the hard work you guys do.
Yeah, sorry, Kamala. Sorry we took some of your timeline away.
That's all right. They got enough, I'm sure. All right, buddy. Hey, appreciate it again. Thanks so much, and thanks to all of you for being with us here. Another episode of BLEAV in Big Ten.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. This Saturday,